Living alone, especially as you grow older, is often romanticized as a peaceful and empowering experience. The idea of having total control over your own time and space, free from interruptions, schedules, and the constant pull of others' needs, paints a picture of liberation that many find appealing, and to a degree, this picture holds true. There's a certain serenity in being able to set your own pace, in creating your own environment without compromise, and in choosing how you want to spend each day. However, what is rarely spoken about, especially to those who haven't experienced it, is that living alone, particularly in your later years, also comes with complexities and unexpected challenges. The wisdom shared by countless individuals who have walked this path reveals a deeper and more nuanced reality. While living alone can indeed be peaceful and freeing, it can also bring difficulties that aren't obvious until you're actually living through them. This isn't to say it's bad, far from it, but the experience is layered with both joy and struggle. I've gathered insights from various online platforms, forums, and personal accounts to reflect on what it really means to live alone as you age, and how you can embrace and overcome the more challenging aspects of it. This isn't just my story, but a collective one, drawn from the voices of those who have navigated this journey before. 1. You are your own emergency backup. One of the most surprising and sobering realities of living alone in your later years is the awareness that you are, ultimately, your own safety net. When you live alone, there is no partner or family member immediately nearby to notice if something goes wrong, whether that's a fall, a medical issue, or any other emergency. The silence that can feel peaceful can also become a vulnerability when there's no one around to call for help if you can't. Many have shared stories that emphasize this point. For instance, a man in his 70s recounted how he had slipped in the bathroom and, despite being in moderate pain, could not get up for hours. He was lucky enough to have left his cell phone in his bathrobe nearby, but the event shook him. After that, he started carrying his phone with him wherever he went, even to the shower, where he installed a waterproof phone holder. Another Redditor shared how their elderly father wore a smartwatch with a built-in fall detection system, which could alert emergency services or family members automatically. While some might see this as an unnecessary precaution, these stories show how crucial it is to have a backup plan when you're on your own. One particularly creative solution came from an older woman who installed a lockbox outside her house that held a spare key. She gave the combination to a couple of trusted neighbors and her family members. This way, if she ever found herself in trouble and couldn't get to the door, someone could access the house without needing to break in or wait for emergency responders to arrive. These simple safety measures give not only peace of mind, but the confidence to continue living independently without fear. The reality is that living alone means you have to be proactive about your safety, especially as you grow older. It might feel strange at first to carry your phone everywhere or invest in a medical alert system, but these steps allow you to maintain your independence while minimizing the risks. It's about thinking ahead and preparing for the unexpected so that you can continue living the life you love without constant worry. 2. Loneliness can creep in, even for introverts. Living alone is often seen as the ultimate dream for introverts. No need to entertain anyone, no need to manage others' expectations or schedules, and endless amounts of personal space. And for many, this is true. Introverts tend to thrive in solitude, using the quiet as a chance to recharge. However, as the years pass, even those who enjoy solitude can find themselves facing bouts of loneliness. The reality of long-term independence is that while solitude offers peace, it can also become isolating, especially when social circles begin to shrink. In various forums, many older adults have shared that, as they aged, their social networks dwindled. Friends passed away, moved to retirement communities, or became less able to participate in social activities due to their own health concerns. An elderly man on a discussion thread mentioned how he used to be a part of several clubs and groups, but as members moved away or became less active, the gatherings stopped. He now goes days without speaking to anyone in person, and while he values his independence, he misses the small, casual interactions of daily life, discussing the weather, chatting about the news, or simply having someone to share dinner with. The sense of loneliness is not always about being alone all the time. It's about not having those everyday interactions that once felt so normal. For some, the solution has been to adopt a pet. A woman on an online forum shared how her cat had become her constant companion, filling her home with a sense of life and routine. "My cat doesn't talk," she said, "but he's always there, and that makes all the difference." For many older adults, pets provide not just companionship, but a sense of purpose. The responsibility of caring for an animal adds structure to the day. Feeding, walking, and simply spending time with the pet can become comforting rituals that combat feelings of loneliness. However, human interaction is irreplaceable. For those living alone, it can be important to find ways to maintain or rebuild social connections. Some have joined local clubs, libraries, or even online communities that cater to their interests. Whether it's through volunteering, joining a fitness group, or simply reaching out to friends for a coffee date, staying connected to others, even in small ways, helps maintain a sense of community and keeps loneliness at bay. 3. Home maintenance becomes a daunting task. One of the unexpected challenges that comes with aging and living alone is the increasing difficulty of maintaining your home. Tasks that once felt routine, like cleaning the gutters, mowing the lawn, or even simple things like dusting the shelves, start to become more physically taxing. The energy you had in your younger years isn't there anymore, and keeping up with the chores can feel like a never-ending battle. Many older adults share stories of how their homes slowly became overwhelming to maintain. A woman in her late 60s talked about how her once meticulous garden started to overgrow because she no longer had the stamina to keep up with the weeding and trimming. Another man shared that he would let minor repairs go for months, telling himself he'd get around to them, but never quite finding the energy to tackle the growing list of home projects. But it's not just about physical energy. There's also an emotional weight to maintaining a home alone. The space that used to be full of life can start to feel like an echo chamber, and keeping up with its needs can feel less urgent. However, letting things slide too much can lead to larger issues down the road, so it's important to strike a balance. One solution is to accept help. Many people hesitate to ask friends or family for assistance, thinking they'll be a burden. But those who do ask often find that others are more than willing to pitch in. Hiring professional help, if budget permits, can also take a huge weight off your shoulders. Having someone to do the heavy lifting, whether it's cleaning the gutters, fixing the leaky faucet, or deep cleaning the carpets, can allow you to focus on the parts of home ownership that still bring you joy, like decorating or tending to a small indoor garden. Another option that many older adults have turned to is downsizing. Moving to a smaller, more manageable home means fewer chores, less maintenance, and, often, lower living costs. It can be an emotional decision to leave the home where you've built so many memories, but downsizing can also bring a new sense of freedom. With less space to worry about, you can focus more on enjoying your life and less on maintaining your surroundings. 4. Daily routines become sacred. One of the more beautiful yet often overlooked aspects of living alone is the way that daily routines start to take on a new level of importance. When there's no one else in the house to share responsibilities with or to make spontaneous plans, your routine becomes your anchor. It's a source of stability, and for many, it becomes a cherished part of life. A woman in her 70s shared how her mornings had taken on a near ritualistic quality. Every day, she would wake up, put on her favorite song, and make herself a simple breakfast of eggs and toast. She didn't have anyone to talk to, but the music filled her house with energy, and the routine gave her a sense of purpose to start the day. "I don't need excitement every day," she said. "I just need a little rhythm." Another man in his late 60s talked about how he looked forward to watering his garden each evening. It wasn't just about the plants, it was the sense of calm that came with performing the same task day after day, nurturing something and watching it grow. In a world that can sometimes feel chaotic or unpredictable, having these small, consistent moments gives a sense of control. For many older adults, routines aren't just about filling time, they become sacred. Whether it's the morning cup of coffee on the porch, an afternoon walk around the block, or an evening TV show that you never miss, these moments of structure provide comfort and a sense of continuity. They remind you that even when life changes in big ways, you still have the power to shape your day. 5. Cooking for one can be tricky, but rewarding. Cooking for yourself when you're living alone can be both a challenge and an unexpected joy, especially as you grow older. When you're no longer cooking for a family or a partner, the motivation to prepare a meal might seem to dwindle. After all, why spend time and effort making a full dish just for yourself? Many older adults admit to defaulting to frozen meals or takeout simply because it's quicker, easier, and doesn't leave a kitchen full of dishes. Yet this approach, while convenient in the short term, can gradually take away some of the deeper pleasures of living alone, pleasures that come from self-care, health, and creativity. One story I came across on a forum was from a woman in her late 60s who had fallen into the habit of microwave dinners, largely out of convenience. She felt that cooking a full meal for just herself seemed wasteful and unnecessary. However, after a period of feeling lethargic and a bit disconnected from herself, she decided to shift her mindset. She began to see cooking not as a chore, but as an opportunity for self-nourishment. She started by batch cooking on weekends, preparing soups, stews, or casseroles that she could portion out and freeze for the week ahead. This allowed her to enjoy home-cooked meals throughout the week, without having to cook every day. Soon she found herself experimenting with new recipes, viewing the process as a creative outlet. She described how cooking had transformed into a small act of love for herself, a way to demonstrate that she was worth the time and effort. Instead of feeling like she was cooking just for one, she reframed it as cooking for someone who mattered, herself. Cooking became a meditative process where she could focus on the smells, the textures, and the satisfaction of creating something nourishing. She started using fresh ingredients and even began growing herbs in her windowsill, which added a new layer of enjoyment to her meals. Many people who live alone come to this realization at some point, that preparing food for yourself is a vital form of self-care. When you're cooking for one, it's an opportunity to tailor every dish exactly to your preferences, to experiment without judgment, and to indulge in flavors that make you feel good. For those who don't enjoy daily cooking, batch cooking can be a lifesaver. Preparing meals in bulk allows you to have healthy, homemade food at the ready without the daily grind of meal prep. In a world that often tells us that convenience is king, there's a quiet, almost sacred joy in taking time to prepare a meal from scratch. Whether it's a simple omelette or a more elaborate stir-fry, the process of cooking can become a ritual that grounds your day and nourishes both your body and your spirit. Plus, from a health perspective, home-cooked meals are generally far healthier and more affordable than takeout or frozen dinners. You're in control of the ingredients, the portions, and the nutritional value, all of which contribute to a better quality of life as you age. Cooking for one doesn't have to feel lonely or tedious. Many older adults find that they enjoy listening to music or audiobooks while they cook, filling their kitchen with sound and adding a sense of companionship to the process. Some even use this time to connect with loved ones, calling a friend or family member for a chat while they prepare their meal. In this way, cooking becomes more than just feeding your body. It becomes a moment of connection, creativity, and care. 6. The quiet can be both a blessing and a curse. One aspect of living alone that many people don't expect is how profoundly quiet your home can become, especially if you've spent most of your life in a bustling household. When you're used to the background noise of children, a spouse, or even the hum of a busy workplace, the sudden absence of sound can feel jarring, almost eerie. The house that once felt so full of life can now seem too silent, particularly in the evenings. The quiet can creep in and feel unsettling, amplifying the sense of solitude in a way that's difficult to describe until you've lived it. An older woman shared on a forum that after her husband passed away, the silence in her home was overwhelming. At first, she thought the peace would be a relief after years of managing a busy household. But instead, she found herself missing the small, everyday sounds, the creak of the floorboards, the murmur of her husband's voice, even the distant noise of the television in another room. The quiet, she said, wasn't just the absence of noise, it was the absence of life as she had known it. To cope, she started leaving the radio on low volume throughout the day, playing soft music or talk shows that provided the illusion of conversation. Others have shared similar experiences, finding solace in background noise. Podcasts and audiobooks have become lifelines for many, offering a sense of companionship that breaks the silence. Listening to people discuss interesting topics, tell stories, or simply chat can fill the house with a presence that makes the space feel less empty. For some, leaving the television on, even if they aren't actively watching, gives a similar sense of comfort. However, it's important to note that not everyone experiences the quiet in a negative way. For some, the stillness is a gift. A man in his 70s wrote about how, after years of living in a noisy home filled with children and grandchildren, he relished the peace that living alone brought. The quiet allowed him to think, to reflect on his life, and to enjoy moments of pure solitude. He used the time to meditate, to journal, and to simply sit in his garden and listen to the birds without distraction. For him, the silence wasn't a void. It was a space to recharge and find peace. This duality of silence is one of the most profound aspects of living alone. On the one hand, the quiet can amplify feelings of loneliness, but on the other, it offers an opportunity for deep introspection and self-connection. It can be unsettling at first, but over time, many people come to appreciate the stillness for what it is, a blank canvas on which they can paint their own lives without interruption or distraction. The key is to find a balance. For those who find the quiet too oppressive, incorporating soft background noise like music or podcasts can make a huge difference. For those who thrive in the silence, it can become a space to reflect, to meditate, and to reconnect with oneself in a way that's often hard to do in a noisy world. The quiet can be both a curse and a blessing. It's all about how you approach it and what you make of it. 7. You need to be intentional about physical activity. Living alone, especially as you get older, means you don't have the built-in prompts for physical activity that you might have had earlier in life. When you're younger, you might be on your feet chasing after kids, keeping up with a spouse's activities, or simply moving more as part of your daily routine. But as you age, and especially if you retire, the need to get up and move becomes less urgent. Without a partner or housemate to encourage walks, shared activities, or even a spontaneous dance in the kitchen, it's easy to settle into a sedentary lifestyle. Many people, after some time living alone, report feeling the effects of this inactivity. Joints stiffen, muscles weaken, and overall energy levels begin to decline. One man shared how, after living alone for a couple of years post-retirement, he noticed his body becoming more sluggish. "I didn't realize how much less I was moving until I started feeling it in my knees and back," he said. When there's no one else to motivate you, you have to motivate yourself. Being intentional about physical activity becomes crucial when you're the only one responsible for getting yourself moving. The good news is, this doesn't mean you need to start running marathons or joining a gym. Even small, consistent efforts can have a significant impact on your overall well-being. One woman in her 60s decided to adopt a dog for precisely this reason. She knew she needed to walk more, but without a real reason to go outside, she often stayed indoors. The dog, however, required daily walks, and as a result, she found herself not only getting the exercise she needed, but also feeling more connected to her neighborhood and community. For those who don't want the responsibility of a pet, there are other ways to stay active. Some people set daily step goals using fitness trackers or smartphones, turning walking into a personal challenge. Light stretching or yoga routines in the morning can help keep your body limber, while joining a fitness class specifically designed for older adults can provide both social interaction and a regular dose of physical activity. Many communities offer low-impact classes like water aerobics or chair yoga that cater to different levels of fitness. It's important to remember that physical activity doesn't have to feel like exercise. Gardening, dancing in your living room, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or even just standing up and stretching every hour can all add up to keep you moving. The goal is to stay in motion, not only to maintain physical health, but also to boost your mood and mental clarity. Studies have shown that regular physical activity can reduce the risk of depression and anxiety, which can sometimes accompany loneliness.